Hello everyone, welcome to this week's investment trends as we close out the month of August and we head into Labor Day weekend. So for the month of August, it looks like we're going to be able to eke out some gains for another positive month for the stock market. All three major indexes are going to be closing out in positive territory. This week, the Dow Jones Industrial Average actually hit a new record high. Also, it may seem like a big surprise that we would close out the month on a positive note based off of what happened earlier on in August. So there was a point in time during the month when the S&P 500 was down over 7.5%, and also the NASDAQ was down over 10% at one point in the month. However, due to some strong earnings reports that came out, and also one of the big market moving events that happened this month was Fed Chair Jerome Powell's speech from Jackson Hole, where he said that it is now time to start cutting interest rates. So that is expected to happen in their September meeting, which takes place on September 17th and 18th. So for those of you that were surprised and for those of you that stuck with your investments for the month, I applaud you because you had any losses that you had earlier this month, you made all of those back. And so far this week, some of the big news that came out. So Friday was another inflation report that came out that actually matched expectations of an increase of 0.2%. So with that news, the market reacted positively on Friday. Also this week, we had earnings reports from NVIDIA. So NVIDIA came out and they had another bellwether quarter from an earnings and a revenue perspective. However, the stock was down as much as 7% at any given time on Thursday. So the market actually reacted negatively to the news. One thing that they did say is they're building bigger chips, but there's such a demand for these chips that they are not sure if they can meet all of that demand. And some of their supply is getting shorter and shorter. So something to keep an eye on. Obviously, that stock at any given time this year was up as much as 150% on the year. And NVIDIA has been the big driving force in this AI push. So something to be aware of, something to keep an eye on would be NVIDIA stock. So as we head into September, a couple of things to keep a look at. Obviously, we're getting closer and closer to the presidential election, which, however, if you look over the long term, that tends to not have a huge impact on the stock markets being in an election year. We also anticipate the Federal Reserve will cut interest rates. Apple's coming out with a big iPhone product update. So looking at September, things are trending positive with the Dow Jones hitting a new record high as well. Also, something to be aware of, if you have money that's in a money market, a treasury bill that's sitting in cash, you may start to see those rates decrease. So at any given time, you're probably getting as much as 5% return or interest on that money. However, if they start to cut interest rates, you anticipate that those yields would get lower and lower, which could mean it's a good time to move that money into some equities. So that's what I've got for this week. If you have any other ideas, any other thoughts on the market, make sure to leave a comment below.